Question number 6, in the name of Deputy Seán Kyne.
Minister, can I ask in relation to the report on the start-up gathering which took place across 5 cities, including Galway, last month, if there was any analysis and if there will be continuous monitoring of the impact of this in relation to job creation and the target to create 2,500 jobs?
Thank you. The Action Plan for Jobs 2015 outlined an action in respect of a national week of events promoting entrepreneurship and showcasing Ireland's start-up sector to entrepreneurs from all over the globe, including the Irish diaspora, with the message "Start, Scale, Succeed" from Ireland. The initiative put in place as a result was the Start-up Gathering. It featured over 400 business events held over 5 days, making it one of the biggest start-up events in the world in 2015. 5 cities, Dublin, Cork, Waterford, Limerick and Galway, acted as hubs for the Start-up Gathering, and there were also associated regional events in a total of 22 counties, including a programme of events in the North East. The aims of the Start-up Gathering were to promote entrepreneurship and help identify entrepreneurial talent at an early stage across the country, to help to develop world-class regional start-up hubs around the existing strengths in each region to accelerate the growth of start-ups and scale-ups in Ireland, and to raise the international profile of the start-up sector in each region of Ireland to global entrepreneurs, investors and R&D teams. The Start-up Gathering was led by the not-for-profit organisation Start-up Ireland. It was sponsored by my department and by Bank of Ireland. Initial reaction to the gathering has been very positive in terms of numbers of events and the participants. However, given the size and the extent of the week, it is necessary to conduct a comprehensive evaluation of all aspects of the initiative. The Start-up Gathering was but one element of work on entrepreneurship detailed in our Action Plan for Jobs 2015. This work has seen Irish performance in the area of entrepreneurship improve substantially in the last year. This has been recognised in 2 international indicators released in the last couple of weeks. The Ireland Small Business Act fact sheet for 2015 was published last week by the European Commission, and the report showed that Ireland has one of the most SME-friendly environments in the EU. In addition, the Global Entrepreneurship Index was also released earlier this month, and it saw Ireland move from 17th to 12th place among 132 countries and from 12th to 7th place among 40 European countries. So that puts Ireland's global entrepreneurship ranking ahead of such notables as Israel, Netherlands, Finland and just 1 place behind Singapore. The report states that Ireland's big opportunities for improvements are in the areas of entrepreneurship, opportunity recognition and reducing risk aversion. So a Start-up Gathering exit review report is currently being prepared and is due to be sent to my department in the coming weeks. The report will include an analysis of the core objectives and key performance indicators, a survey of start-ups, an overview of the various events, marketing, advertising, branding and so on. So my department, Bank of Ireland and Start-up Ireland will be meeting in early December on this issue, and the National Steering Group that I chair will then meet in advance of finalisation of the report. And work on entrepreneurship and that whole area will continue in 2016, when we will continue to put in place actions to help improve performance in that area.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Minister, for the reply. Having attended the event in Galway on the 5th of October and having spoken at it indeed, I'd like to acknowledge the work of Owen Coster, the Chief Executive of Start-up Ireland, the Galway City Coordinator John Breslin, Bank of Ireland, who were a key sponsor, Enterprise Ireland and the local enterprise office under Breda Fox. And there's a number of, certainly the meeting was very impressive, an array of people from the business sector, the higher education sector, the wider community in the Galway area. And I welcome also the initiatives in relation to the Jobs Action Plan for the West in relation to specific measures, including the micro-enterprise in conjunction with the EI, local, the LEOs and Údarás na Gaeltachta as well. And I certainly welcome and commend yourself and the department and the work that you've done in relation to start-ups. You've mentioned the 2016 Action Plan. What specific measures do you think will be rolled out on that in relation to start-ups, or will they flow from the analysis that you're doing on the events of this year?
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we are working at the moment on finalising the elements that will form part of the package for Action Plan for Jobs 2016. And while we're not in a position to discuss those here today, there will be a very clear suite of proposals, a lot of it emanating from a lot of the changes that were introduced in the budget of this year to help our enterprise sector, but also to build as well on the publication of the National Entrepreneurship Strategy last year. And it is our ambition that we do increase the number of start-ups by 25%, representing 3,000 more start-ups per annum. We want to increase the survival rate in the first 5 years by 25% as well, and to improve the capacity of start-ups to grow and scale by 25%. And we're constantly looking at ways in which we can continue to improve the models right across the country to bring more coherence to the level of supports that start-ups enjoy. And there's been reference to that whole area in the regional action plans for jobs, which is the right way to go about building up to go about building up our enterprise ecosystem right across the country, on the ground locally, responding to regional needs and working with the private sector and the public sector to do that. So we are ambitious for start-ups. That's enshrined in our Enterprise 2025 strategy and in the Government's National Entrepreneurship Policy Statement. And the Action Plan for Jobs provisions, which will be published in January for 2016, will be very ambitious in that regard.
Thank you, Minister. We know that start-up companies have, in the past 5 years, have created up to two-thirds of the jobs, which will be over 90,000 of the jobs created. So clearly, it's a hugely important sector. I'm sure you're familiar with the Porter Shed in Galway, the initiative in Galway. You may have visited a space for people setting up companies to work together. And there's a number of other initiatives, especially in the large urban areas in our cities. Do you think it would be a good idea to look at the larger towns, shall we say, in the regions as well, in relation to incentivising start-ups and incentivising these sort of incubation spaces within large towns as well? And is there anything that you could develop, possibly as part of the action plan in 2016, or any other initiatives within your department? And you look at larger towns in my area, on Carrua, Clifton, Oughterard, those areas, because obviously the concentration the entrepreneurial concentration may have been in the urban areas, and I think we need to spread that out to the larger towns as well.
Thank you.
Well, absolutely, I agree with Deputy Kyne. I mean, our start-up sector actually have been the sort of unsung heroes of our economic recovery. We have had record numbers of new company registrations over the last couple of years, which is very encouraging for those of us who are interested in creating start-ups and helping our start-up community. I absolutely agree as well, coming from a constituency that happens to have Ireland's two largest towns, that we absolutely need to focus on improving the ecosystem and the infrastructure in our major regional towns. And we have, as you will be aware, Deputy Kyne, two particular funding calls out at the moment: a €5 million fund for the Community Enterprise Initiative, which is very much focused in that whole space, and a €5 million fund, €5 million Leo fund as well, to try to encourage local enterprise offices to collaborate on opportunities that will, I suppose, focus on the existing strengths and to try to build capacity in those areas. We also have a considerable fund as well available, and there were expressions of interest advertised through Enterprise Ireland to build to develop big ideas in areas where private industry and the public sector can improve their collaborating on clustering and so on. And I think that particular initiative will have a huge impact in our regional towns because our start-ups are so important for the economic vibrancy of the regions across this country.
Thank you.